Hello everybody, Andy here again. It's Tuesday, it's time for another vlog, and I haven't really got a clue what I'm going to talk about. I've got one idea, but that's the beauty of this type of thing. I think what's so good about sort of vlogging generally is that you can just turn on the camera and talk about what you want. Maybe I'll do one of these videos and actually sort of explain how I go about vlogging, because I have been asked that on a number of occasions. So if I remember and something else doesn't crop up, I'll probably talk about that. I just got in, I've been out for a run. I'm trying to do trying to get into running again. I was saying to Gary on another video the other day on my response channel, which I won't tell you what it is because it's a secret. It's not a secret, but it's one of those ones I'm not going to publicise. I just do responses to people occasionally when I feel like it. And it's usually quite a sort of a personal video, more or less addressed to the person rather than a normal response. I'll still do ordinary responses if I feel that it's, you know, of general interest to anybody else, and also maybe if I feel that there's another point that I can put across. This is what I find with a lot of the things that I look at, a lot of the videos that I watch them, and yeah, great videos, and I feel I want to respond, but I come at them from a different angle. Maybe that's just the way I am, slightly off of centre, shall we say. But been out for runs and trying to get back into it again, and I got a half marathon here in Hastings in I think it's the 17th, no 15th of March, and we're not that far away actually, and I'm still undecided as to whether to do the race at all, because it's a half marathon, it's 13.1 miles. I've done that particular race 10 times in the past. I think it's the 25th anniversary this year, so I would like to do it, but it's a long way. I've been out of practice. I've only just sort of got back into running in the last few months, and I had quite a break over Christmas because of that sort of flu bug epidemic thing that was going around, certainly in Britain anyway. So that sort of knocked me back, and it takes a while to get back into it. I'm really getting into it again, but I'm only going to do the run if I really feel that I can, if you see what I mean. The last time I did it a couple of years ago, I felt awful. I didn't feel too bad for the first half, but by the end of it, I felt dreadful. You know, I was really tired and had to walk for a couple of times, which is something that I don't usually do. And I sort of thought to myself, I've run marathons in it before now. I felt better at the end than I did when I'd done that half marathon, and obviously it's only half the distance. But today, quickly got home from work, decided to sort of put my stuff on and get out, which is one of those things that's great, because that's something that happens when you get into the running. It allows you to do that. You get that sort of sense of freedom type thing, and you think, oh yeah, and the enthusiasm comes back, and you want to get back out there and do it. You know, other times you're sort of looking out the window trying to find any sort of excuse not to go out because it's too windy, it's too rainy, it's too hot, it's too cold, you know, or that's too icy, you know what it is. And anything in life really, if you don't want to do it, you can always think of a damn good excuse not to. But when you're into something, when you're excited about something, and it gives you a bit of a buzz, it gives you a bit of a high, which running certainly does, it's easier to get out the door. And as I've always said, that first step outside the door is the hardest one. But today I actually sort of did a bit of a tester really, with the view to possibly doing this run in the future, and sort of running up. We've got this hill near me, and it's a steady climb. I don't know what the sort of height in sort of meters is when you get to the top of it, but it's a steady climb, and it's just about exactly a mile. Well, it's just over a mile long. So, and it's a sort of a steady, sort of fairly steady incline all the way, and that's pretty hard work. And I thought, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to test myself, see what it's like. Obviously, run from my home to the bottom of the hill, which is about a mile or something, I suppose, maybe a bit more than that, and then run up the hill and see how I feel. See if I get to the top. And you know, I was sort of part way up and thinking, I'm not sure about this, but actually I got to the top very easily, and that's what's so good about that type of thing. You're sort of testing yourself all the time, and when you do get there, there's that real sort of sense of achievement. You get over that sort of point part way through the run where you're thinking, I'm not good at this, and that's something that I have learned through the running. I may well have mentioned this before, and forgive me if I have, that you sort of get to a point, and we all do that when you first start running. You first start any sort of exercise, even walking for that matter. If you start walking fast and you get to a point, you think, God, my legs ache, or my breathing's not working properly, I think I'm going to stop. If you can get over that little hurdle, usually you get a second wind, or whatever you want to call it, and you feel a lot better. Most of it is up here. It's just getting over that. And funny enough, I watched something on the TV yesterday, and they were talking about when people get a stitch, which is usually, I think they always said it's in the right hand side. You always get a stitch, it's tied up with the liver, I think. So they found out. You know what that's like when you do a bit of exercise, and that really hurts. I reckon the best way of getting away with that, because how it happens is because you tend to sort of breathe breathe out, I believe it was, when you put your right foot on the ground when you're running. The idea is to try and change it so that when your left foot hits the ground, you exhale. But the way I said to my wife at the time, actually, if you're thinking about your breathing while you're running, you're not going to do it any good, because from my experience, and this could just be me, but I don't suspect it is, and if you can get out there, you don't think about your breathing, you don't even think about your running, you just do it. If you get to that sort of stage, if you're thinking about your running, your feet aren't working properly, and if you're thinking about your feet and what you're doing about it, it won't work. And running should be a sort of a fairly natural thing. You should get into a rhythm and keep going. Once again, you can use that analogy for life, lots of things. If you think about things too much, they become harder, don't they? You know, there's always those sort of thing. The more you think about something, the harder it becomes, and quite often that is the case, because it then gets up here and you start thinking about it before you know you're tripping over your feet, or you're out of breath, or your breathing's all over the place. It doesn't work. But what I was going to talk about, because that wasn't part of this vlog at all, that had nothing to do with this vlog whatsoever. But as it happened, yesterday, I don't know if for those of you know, I actually acquired one of these. Now this is an iPhone, so I've been sort of playing with this and tapping away and trying to get hold of it. Yes, it's another piece of kit. It's another internet device. Obviously, primarily it's a mobile phone, as we would say over here, cell phone, but I always call it mobile phones. And I've never been a fan of mobile phones, I'll be perfectly honest. They are one of those sort of necessities. I have to have one for work, but I don't really like them. I've never been a great fan of them. I think they're more of a curse and a hindrance than actually a tool. But when you get something like that, and I know there's other products on the market which are similar, it's different. This is a complete sort of entertainment system type of thing. Obviously, it's got the cameras and all the music that you can put on. You can sync it with your iTunes and all that. But it's the internet, the mobile internet now. And in some ways, it's one of those things that I've sort of resisted. I've been sort of fairly careful about what I do on the internet, but I'm being sort of sucked into it more and more by the way. Some of the sites that come along. I've just got onto Facebook, which is something that I never thought I ever would do. I don't use it very much, and I probably won't use it very much, but it is quite good and I do quite enjoy it. But I often thought that it might be just a website too far. It may well prove to be that way. So I do try and sort of take a step back with all the other things that I do as well, whether it be on the internet or off the internet. So when I saw that come along, I debated about getting an iPhone some time ago. And I thought, no, I don't think I can justify it. But then, because I've been drawn into things like Twitter, I know I've spoken about it before, I don't want to keep going on about it, but I do find that so good now. It's ironic that I made a comment the other day, and Gary, Anakin 1814, happened to say, I do remember when you didn't really get Twitter and you didn't like it. And I was like that at the time, when it first came along, or when I first sort of got onto it. I didn't really see it. I do now, I do get it, and I think that's the turning point. There's a sort of a light bulb goes on off in your head. You can mould it, you can do what you want with it. But I thought, well, I'll get that because I can use it anywhere. And, you know, as I'm sure you're well aware, you can go and you can use the internet wherever you are for whatever your purposes are, and you can put applications and things like that on there. Funnily enough, went downstairs to watch a particular program on the TV yesterday evening with my wife, and I took the phone down. I said, "Look, I've got Twitter on my iPhone." And she said, "Oh no." No, she said, "Well, you really are a geek now." No, she thinks I'm a geek anyway. What with all the other stuff that I do, especially the internet sort of stuff, and I'm interested in the technology. She's got a mobile phone, she's got her iPod and all that sort of stuff. But she's a bit of a technophobe especially when it comes to computers. A sort of running joke with the people that she works with, you know, that she doesn't even know how to turn the computer on. But she thinks I'm really a big geek now because me and my son sort of compare. He's got an iPod Touch, which is effectively an iPhone without the internet, without the sort of the phone type side of it. And we were sort of comparing things and applications. And thanks to all those people actually on Twitter, because I did put up there about sort of applications for Twitter, for example, to use Twitter on the iPhone, and some of the other ones that I wanted was to use Hotmail because my internet email address happens to be a Hotmail address, and it's not easy when you're on a Mac with the Apple stuff to actually get the Microsoft Hotmail onto either your computer, your web browser or whatever, or through the iPhone. There are ways around it. So if anybody knows of any good applications that I can put onto that iPhone, I'd be very, very very worthwhile, and I'll be very pleased about that and very thankful. I'm not particularly interested in games now. I'm thinking of more applications that are that I can use a bit more, I suppose. Maybe things that are a bit more useful when I'm out and about. I mean, yeah, games are great, but I've never been a great games player with this sort of Nintendos and Xboxes. Never really touched them. Never really appealed to me. I remember sort of playing the Sims games and that for a while, and even flight simulators and things like that, but never really took off. And I've just noticed that I've already been talking for over 10 minutes when I didn't really know what I was going to talk about. That's the trouble, you know, you start talking about and then you think of one subject, you diverse and you often onto another one. So I've got a couple of ideas about what I might talk about for the next couple of days, but as with this vlog even, they may well go out the window and something else might come along. So I'm quite enjoying this. I might even continue it after Saturday and we'll just see how these things progress. You never know. But then you might get bored with the vlog every day. But you don't have to watch them, I suppose. At least I'm enjoying myself by putting them out there. Anyway, I'm definitely going to leave it there. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.